Hey everybody, it's Dr. S, and we're watching Walt Disney stuff. Oh, Return to Oz, we see the Twilight Zone entry. Return to Oz is basically a sequel, well, it is a sequel to the first Wizard of Oz, and that's Dorothy. She likes to sleep with her eyes open. Her aunt and uncle think she's crazy, and her uncle's like, ooh, maybe I should shock her with electrical therapy, that'll make her feel better. And Aunt Em's like, yeah, let's totally do it. She still thinks Oz is real. And she's like, I like watching the Twilight Zone, that's why I like looking out my window that looks suspiciously like the Twilight Zone window. So they live in like a half house after the tornado thing, and she's got a pet chicken, even though she's got tons of chickens. Her favorite chicken is the orange chicken, of course. She's looking around, and then she's like, oh my god, there's a key, and it's the key to Oz, and she's talking to Toto and the chicken, and the Toto and chicken are like friends or something, I don't know. So she's like, oh my god, Aunt Em, you know, let's run to the only person that thinks I'm crazy in the world, and explain to her that, like, this magical world exists. Okay, makes sense. Anyway, she's like, don't tell your grandfather or your uncle or whatever, he's trying to build a house, and Toto's like, let me out, let me out. And Toto apparently can open a window, and then even though Toto catches up, he stops halfway and is like, okay, I'm done, I'm fat, I'm not running. And Dorothy's like, I'm gonna wear this hat. So anyway, they were walking around town, walking down the street in a big sandwich. No, I'm just kidding. So they go to what looks like, I don't know. Well, they see a guy smoking a pipe, and he has to be British because he's smoking a pipe. Now, he's got like a typewriter and all this stuff, and they're like, Dorothy, Dorothy. For some reason, outside of this movie, it's not in black and white, it's in color, but obviously they're not gonna have a black and white movie in the 80s. So they give her the key, and she's like, oh, my friends are like the lion and the scarecrow, and they're like, it's like a face, it's like got a face, except this face is gonna electrocute your ass. So it's very friendly how they shock you while you're still alive, which doesn't make sense because shocking you would stop your heart, and the only way it would start your heart is if you were dead. So now she sees some blonde chick, and she's like, oh, she's gone, she's like a ninja, ninja. It's like, it's gonna be okay getting electrocuted to the head, it's gonna be fine. So they take her to like this so now they've got her in this like mental institution, and her aunt like leaves her, and apparently she has to be walked handheld through the to her room. Wow, looks like a nice, safe, clean, friendly room. Well, she's locked inside, and the blonde chick's like, here's a pumpkin. So it's like she couldn't think of anything that wouldn't make her scared. And she's like, I'm trapped in this mental asylum too because I believe in fairy tales and stuff like that. And like, really, she's like, what is Dorothy like? In this movie, she looks like 9 or something. So, like, really, is it that bad that she has an imagination? Like, I don't know. And it's thundering outside right now, and even, like, you didn't sleep, did you, Dorothy? And apparently, since she's such, like, an evil person, they have to strap her down, which doesn't make sense because there's probably tons of doctors in here, and that she could never escape. She won't escape. There's no chance that they're just gonna leave her in an empty room, like, with nobody guarding her, and like, she won't escape. So they play her some Van Halen just to make her feel better, and yeah, they turn on the eyeballs of the thing, and she's like, oh, the power goes out, how fortunate. So they just leave her there. I mean, that must be a comfortable bed. When oh my god. Okay, yeah, now you can tell that she's kind of hallucinating, because when this girl takes her out, there's like all these different signs of like in this house where you seeing them in Oz, like there's like the pumpkin head and like the ticking face thing going on, and she's like, oh, let's jump in a river, and there just happens to be some plywood and a giant metal cage that they can float in. Sounds safe. So she's going down the Whiskey River, I guess, and she's perfectly dry right now, and her hair is still perfectly braided, and it's not all wet and stuff, and her talking chicken is with her. Okay, what sense does that make? I don't know. And she's like, oh, we're in the land of Oz, and there's the trees, but you can't step on the sand because it'll turn you into sand, yet the rocks are on the sand and they're not turned into sand, so what sense does that make? I'm not sure. I guess you have to be like, inanimate objects are, like, fine. So if I was the chicken, I don't know, I think, like, can chickens fly? I don't know, I'd fly over. And then the eyeballs, like, from the rock, and Ooh, the what are they called? Lunch pail trees. Yeah, okay. Sure, why not? They each have different sandwiches in there. The rock face. That's all not animation, it's not like CG. And that's why it always stuck with me. I thought that looked so cool. The Gnome King, he's the evil guy. Oh my god, there's your house, even though for some reason it's like, you know, where her house is. That's what Kansas was flight off to. And oh my god, the Wizard of Oz look like the golden the yellow brick road looks like the shit brick road right now. So she runs really fast, and for some reason, look at this. You won't believe it. Okay, she's already at Emerald Kingdom. What did she take, like the 5-mile road or 20-kilometer race to get there last time? Must have took a million detours. She sees all the people turned to stone from the Gnome King. Beware the Wheelers. What are the Wheelers? Wheelers are probably the scariest friggin' thing alive. When I was younger, they scared the living crap out of me. Oh my god, the Tin Man that looks nothing like the Tin Man. Oh my god, the lion who looks like the MGM thing. Oh my god, the Wheelers, oh my god, you just can't believe how freaking scary they are when you're younger. Like, watch this when you're 5 and you're like shitting your pants. So she just happens to see a key slot thing and she opens it and she's like, oh, I'm gonna shut the door. And the Wheelers, going all emo Metallica on them, are like, oh, I'm gonna get you even though the door's locked, and they leave for some reason. And then they find TikTok, a replacement for the, what's it called, the Tin Man. I always like the Tin Man, but TikTok is like a beast. He's like my favorite character. He has 3 different wind-up keys, one for sound, one for thinking, and one for movement. So apparently, like, he was trapped in there, so he tried to ram his way out, but then he lost his movement, then he lost his ability to speak and yell for help, and then he just thought, and then he died. So anyway, I guess it was necessary for the mechanics of this robot to give him a mustache, but sure. TikTok is a beast, I love him. He's like a real tank, and the chicken's like a replacement of Toto, so there's no Toto in this, which was kind of unfortunate, because Toto was like the coolest dog in the world. And he's like, give me a lunch pail, boom, 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 boom. And he had the coolest voice too, he's like, give me a lunch pail. And Emerald City's like, wrecked. Watch this, he goes all Beyblade on them and is like, pew, pew, spins, spins, spins. And then he tanks the emo one, the red hair. And he's kind of bald, kind of not bald. Okay, I'll roll with it. Bang. So he lets the Wheeler go, and they're trying to open the door, which is open. So look at his footsteps are in the dust. That's kind of cool. And they're like, oh my god, there was like the queen or whatever. They want to find out what happened to Emerald City, so they're like, boom, 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 boom. And this one's like probably even scarier than the Wheelers. If not, she's really close. She can take off her head, which does not make any sense whatsoever, but, yeah, she rips off her head, and, yeah, just walks with her head, and these are all people that she trapped, and then she'll switch her heads around, and it's pretty freaking scary, and, like, I hate how, like, all the other heads, like, look her with, like, eyeballs and stuff, and the reason why she, traps Dorothy here, or TikTok comes over, and he's like, I'm gonna wreck you, but then his movement shuts off, and that's pretty unfortunate. So she locks Dorothy and the chicken upstairs because when Dorothy gets older, she wants to use her head too, because that's great. So this is all going on because they wanted to give her electric shock therapy. Way to go, great parents. I would not choose Aunt Em to be my godparent. But look, there's the Tin Man and the Lion and Scarecrow, and the Scarecrow doesn't look anything like a Scarecrow. And wow, there's Jack, the next character. Jack is like a pumpkin, and that's like, the pumpkin is, like, he, for some reason, thinks that Dorothy's his mom, which there's no way that she fit his giant head out of her, you know. Anyway, we're gonna cut it to part 2, okay? Okay, see you guys.